Hello and welcome to a new video here on Scotland and bagpipes, everything about Scotland. Today and in this video I'm going to reveal all my drone settings and secrets that I use for flying my drone in Scotland, so to get out the best footage of your drone ever. It's the following video of the first one, which I'm talking about what drone I actually use, why this is the best drone for Scotland. So that's another video, and as I promised, now here are the settings. And I'm trying to record my screen now on my RC controller so that you can actually see my settings. And the funny thing is, so I hit record here, start now, it's all, oh, that was a sound, and it's already recording. And the funny thing is that I had to change the language here on the screen for everything, so that's in English, because English is not my first language. So I hope I find all the settings. If I have to look a few times to find the right things, so please bear with me. We're gonna do that right now. And I would say, let's go. On the left corner, there is the N mode. I always fly in normal mode. That means normal mode because you can switch it to the sports mode. It's the thing here, you actually change it here on your RC controller, that's the little thing in the middle, and it's on S, that means sports mode, and all your sensors are not working, so they are off, so you can easily crash the drone. So I would not recommend it because the DJI Mavic Classic has sensors all around, above and beneath, so that's really safe to fly the drone in normal mode. And as you see my videos here on YouTube, I always use the normal mode. So that's the thing on the left up here. And why is it so dark here on the screen? Coming to that later on, because I'm using some ND filter that's still on. We don't need a bright picture right now because we are not flying the drone. You only see the settings, so that's actually helpful. A dark screen to see all the settings perfect. The most important thing is, if you look down there on the screen, yeah, almost the right corner here, there it says 4K 50 D-Log. What is that? WB 7300K, and there is something about the SD card. So let's check that out. Here we've got the 73K white balance, that means Kelvin, and it makes your footage either too warm, red tones, or too cool, blue tones. And I set it for Scotland most of the time to 7300. You can see you can change it here, but yeah, when it's like sunny or something like that, and you see the footage here on my channel, I set it to, no, that's it, not 73, can I hit it? Yeah, that's it, 7300 Kelvin. So you can even set it to auto, but the thing is that we don't use the auto mode. I will show you in a second how to swap to the auto mode so that you have nothing to do at all. The camera, everything, the camera makes everything for you, and you don't have to set up anything. So the next thing, there is 1080 HD. You can actually choose the resolution 4K, C4K of 5.1K. 5.1K is just too big in the resolution for me. 4K is even too much for most of the time because HD does it, but I set it to just 4K, 50 frames per second. You can use the 60 frames per second, it depends on where you live or what timeline you use in the post-production. I use a 25 frames per second timeline. The double of that is 50, so I use 50, that it works fine. You don't have to understand that, but you can go up on 4K to 60 frames per second, and I just use the 50 frames per second, and that's totally perfect for me. And the next thing, storage, and that's the little SD card sign. Yeah, I just use the SD card that's in my drone, and it says how much gigabytes or even terabytes there are left of a 190 gigabyte thing. There are still 21.2 gigabytes left. Next thing is very, very, very important. If it comes to the color, you see normal, D-Log. I can here swap to HLG. See, the picture becomes brighter, and normal, it's dark again, and in a normal mode You don't have the D-Log thing, of course, and D-Log means it's a super flat profile. almost no contrast, no colors. That means you can paint the colors afterwards in the post-production. What does painting mean? Color grading. The picture before looks like that, flat, and you can get more out of your picture later on, as you see here, if you record in D-Log. But if you record in D-Log and you watch your footage for the first time, you think it looks terrible. Yes, that's maybe true, but that's just because you can get so much out of it later on. So that's my little secret here, the D-Log thing. And if you hit down there, color display assist, that helps you that if you deactivate it, you get the flat profile on your screen here as well. But on the screen I want to have a nice and colored picture, so I use that to get a kind of already color graded picture when I'm flying the drone, and that helps a lot to see everything, because on the flat profile you won't see everything and it's not a nice experience to fly the drone. So that's all my settings here. If we hit down there at that little lens or shutter sign, it swaps to ISO. And if you use D-Log, that's an important thing. You cannot use a smaller number than 400 ISO. So that's a standard for D-Log. Don't be scared. The drone works fine with 400 D-Log all the time. I use it all the time. You have to use it actually in D-Log. And I never go up to 800, 1600. You see the picture becomes brighter, and that's when you fly the drone in dark times. But I never fly when it's really dark. So the shutter, because I'm recording in 50 frames per second, I need the double number 1 to 100 shutter. If you, and that's important for you, record 60 frames per second, the double would be 120. And that's very important to set up. So, and if you set it up like my settings here, sometimes the picture is just too bright and you say, oh, what is that guy talking about? And that when it comes to, because these are the best settings for high video quality to get the best footage, and then you just put on sunglasses or ND filters, which I always use on my drones. And it looks like that. It's easy to swap. You saw that in the first video when I'm talking about the drone. You put that on, and that's another secret to get the best picture quality. If you would use auto, your controller, your camera would mess up all the settings, change the ISO, change the shutter, change just everything, and then the picture doesn't look perfect. And that's always because you see some footage on YouTube and you say, why is this footage here so much better than the footage of the other guy on YouTube? And that's the secrets just here that I'm telling you. So, is everything okay now? You can even change the aperture, but most of the time I don't change it. I do it with the ND filters. 3.5, that's what I use, and that's everything here. You see, we go back to this here, 4K 50 still, D-Log, that's alright. And the next thing, I wanted to show you how to swap actually, if you don't want to mess with all these settings here, to the auto mode. On the right bottom corner it says Pro. That's what we're using right now. If I hit Pro, it swaps to auto, and now we've got the auto mode. So the camera does everything for you here on the drone. And the drone, just by the way, is recording my recording screen. That's why you can see me here on the DJI controller. Or just hit the button. So that's almost everything. Easy and not too complicated. The last thing that I want to show you is if you hit the 3 dots on the right upper corner, and we're gonna do that now, you can set up so many things, safety things and all that stuff. And the auto return altitude, I set that to 100 meters, because if something goes wrong or you just want to get the drone back, you just hit one button and the drone returns. You can even put the controller down, it returns to you. And I set it up quite high, 100 meters, because if there are trees or stuff, it goes up high and it doesn't collide with something, and then it goes down to me, to the landing place. But you can change that as you would like to. But as I said, I always have the sensors on, so it's safe anyway. I never crashed this particular drone, I love it so much. So with the sensors on, you're quite safe. You can also change the maximum altitude, maximum distance. I set it to no limit here on the max distance. Battery info, that's all. I'm not messing around. wanna have an easy thing here, easy to control, and also for you, I don't change too much here. We can go up there on the control things here. I use the metric with meters thing, and the gimbal mode is the follow mode. That's almost everything. The last thing that I want to show you is about the gimbal. And you know, you can change how the gimbal moves. So that means your camera can go down, can go up. That makes perfect Hollywood movie-like effects on your footage. And you don't want to have that too quickly, because that doesn't look very cinematic. To get the best out of your gimbal movements, which you can control with the wheels here, you can go up, you can go down. Example, the drone flies forward and you go from down up with your camera, and that looks just so good. And then it goes smooth and it stops smooth without like that. That's another thing that we set up here in the settings. So, and you find these important gimbal control settings if you go actually to control, and then here gain and expo tuning. It says fine tunes gain and expo settings for aircraft and gimbal. So I hit that one here, and I'm not really messing around. You can see my settings here, but oh, I went back. Just go back to control. Here we are. And I'm not really messing around with these things here, but you can see what I've got here. Jaw smoothness is 5. Brake sensitivity 100. Pitch roll 0.25. Yaw 0.2. Up down 0.25. And then, very important, that's it down here, the last thing on the bottom, gimbal. Max control speed, tilt. It's 16 degrees /S. And tilt smoothness is on 24. That's the settings that I use. And if we go back, if you see, it's very dark here, but how smooth the camera goes up and down, lovely. You see, that's just lovely. And that's what you see all the time, or most of the time, in my Scotland YouTube vlogs and videos, my drone footage. That's everything. If you want a D-Log color grading video and tutorial here on my channel, please write it down there on the comments. That would be a third part, but I'm not sure if you're actually interested in those drone videos, so I'll see that in the future time. But how to color grade is a really important thing. But that's my secrets. If you set your drone up just like that, and I stop recording now, the screen recording, then you need a little bit practice, but you will get exceptional footage out of your drone. Now that's it for the video today. Click this video here if you want to see what drone I'm using. That was the first video. Other than that, see you in the next one. Scotland and bagpipes, and bye.